Jesse, cue it up. Everybody in their places. It's time to go.
Are we rolling? Yeah, we're rolling. Okay, let's get it done, everybody. Let's go.
Hey, Reagan, how's my hair? Is it okay?
Poxy, they can't see you.
All right, come on, let's go, toots, people. Poxy, start on page 4. Get the lines right this time.
All right, I got it this time, I swear.
4, 3.
Come on. It's time for the Ghost of Hollywood.
All right, wall crawlers, it's time for the season 5 finale here on the Ghost of Hollywood. What's up, everybody? I'm Poxy Leonard here with Miss Reagan, and tonight the party is on because for you, we have the one and only WWE superstar, Chelsea Green, in the house, baby, yeah!
That's right, and the lead patriot herself is in here to talk with us about her recent pop in the WWE Netflix series, Unreal. We'll also dive into her career a bit and discuss her current work on WWE SmackDown. Speaking of which, SmackDown is tomorrow night at the Moda Center here in Portland, Oregon. Will you be there?
You know I will be. And then it's time to head north to Seattle for Monday Night Raw as we all celebrate our 5-year anniversary to close out our 5th season here on the Ghost of Hollywood.
You should be celebrating the fact you haven't been fired yet.
Well, that's true. And I've been trying so hard, but it just won't happen. Anyway, I'm still a little nervous here tonight. I don't think I've ever been starstruck on the Ghost of Hollywood before, but here we are. I mean, I've been looking for a way to help bring down tacky time anyway for like over a year now. And lo and behold, I've finally called to active duty by none other than the actual Secret Hervis. Yeah.
Oh, come on, Poxy. I know you have some love for Tiffy in there somewhere.
Well, enough love that I plan to conspire with Chelsea before the interview ends so that I can make sure tacky time ends right here in Portland. That's right.
Yeah, sure. You're one prettiest moonsault away from death, jobber boy.
For real. But, I'd be a great jobber, Reagan. Look out, Mulkey brothers. And speaking of brothers, Simon and Lynnox are back at it tonight with a very special wrestling segment pulled from the depths of the cinematic dumpster fire.
There's a wrestling movie disaster?
Probably, but when I was at the Reeds last week, the writing team was pushing a story about Dick The Bruiser that Simon told me they were calling the kayfabe dumpster fire for tonight's special, yeah.
All right, well, I'm interested to hear what they have to talk about on our break later. And speaking of breaks, it's time we take a short one here really quickly before Chelsea joins us. I'm Miss Reagan here with Poxy Leonard, and a quick shout out to our sponsors at KBOO 90.7 FM Portland and Asia Hawthorne for all of their support this season, as we also celebrate our 5th year on the airwaves in the Pacific Northwest. And with that, don't forget that KBOO is listener-supported radio, so please visit their website at kboo.fm. Click that red donate button and give an amount of your choice. Make sure to let them know the Ghost of Hollywood sent you.
That's right. Now, when we get back, lace up your wrestling boots, wall crawlers, because the queen of the belt, Chelsea Green, will be here with us shortly to tell you exactly how to carry it. I'm Poxy Leonard here with Miss Reagan, and it's time for episode 49, baby. So stay tuned, because when we return, Chelsea will join us right here on The Ghost of Hollywood.
Interested in television or movies?
Then check out The Ghost of Hollywood for the best in cinema-related podcast at theghostofhollywood.com or wherever you get your podcast.
Welcome back to the Ghost of Hollywood. I'm Miss Reagan here with Poxy Leonard, and joining us tonight is none other than the inaugural and 2-time WWE United States Women's Champion and President of the Secret Hervis, Chelsea Green. Chelsea is a major player in WWE SmackDown, which is scheduled for a Friday night event here in Portland, Oregon at the Moda Center. That said, I'd like to thank Chelsea for making the time in her busy schedule to speak with us for a bit. Chelsea, thanks for joining us on the Ghost of Hollywood. How are things going on the road right now? And what updates do you have for us on your recent ankle injury?
Oh my goodness. I mean, what a whirlwind week it's been. We just finished Elimination Chamber. That was an absolutely incredible PLE in Chicago. And I've got about 4 hours of sleep this week.
Oh my goodness.
It's great. We're thriving. And my ankle, look, it's broken. The inner ankle bone chipped and cracked. So it's very much broken. A lot of people are questioning that, but I'm able to weight bear. So I feel like we're on a good trajectory to make kind of a solid comeback,
Oh, well, I'm glad that your recovery's gone well.
Yeah, I read you even in one of the interviews you did, you said you were walking around Universal and stuff on it before you figured out it was even broken.
Well, yes, and that's due to a lot of margaritas.
Nice.
Well, as a part of your Secret Hervis, Alba Fire and Piper Niven have both been your closest allies on the screen and in the ring in recent years. Now, what about getting to know them early on in your career led to such a long-standing friendship and the eventual development of the Secret Hervis? And how have you and Alba worked to maintain the Hervis during Piper's absence?
Oh, well, so a lot of us were on the indies together, and I was really lucky because I actually was on the independent scene in Japan living with Alba and Piper years ago. I mean, we're talking 10, 11 years ago. So we have a great foundation in our friendship, in our work life, just all around. And I think that that's what makes us a really unique team. It's just our true backstory. If anyone had followed us before, they know that. We trust each other. We're loyal to each other. We push each other. Each of us want each other to succeed. There's no inner competition or anything like that. And I just think like that makes for an amazing work environment. And I don't know that all groups are like that. We obviously, Alba and I are missing Piper so much. I feel like she's the connective tissue between all of us. She's such like a mother figure, but also so fun and playful, and she's so easygoing. So we really, really miss her, but she's at home. She's resting with her husband and her dogs and her cats. And I feel like when she comes back, she's not only going to be healed physically, but also just emotionally and mentally, because this job really is so draining. And she's put up a lot of herself into WWE and just professional wrestling. You know, I don't know that in 15 or so years of wrestling if she's ever stopped. So this is kind of a forceful stop, but I think in a really good way.
That's good. Now, with your husband Matt Cardona recently re-signed to WWE, what's it like professionally to be under the same banner after periods of working separate circuits?
It's crazy because, you know, we've been together 9 years and we were always ships passing in the night. We always like almost worked together or did one show when I got called up to the main roster once. Like little bits and pieces we were able to kind of test this relationship at work out, but it's not like it is now, you know. It was so different then, and I was scratching and clawing to get to where I am now, and he was so comfortable at WWE. So it was a totally different dynamic. Now we've almost switched roles. You know, he's coming back to an entirely new roster. His friends are gone. We've had a whole kind of changing of the guard, I guess, if you will. And now I've been there for 3 years, so I've kind of planted my roots, and I'm able to kind of like introduce him to my friends and the new way that WWE is, and it's so funny and weird, but you know, we're learning our dynamic now. Going to work together because here's the thing. The minute that he came back, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you must be so excited to travel with him. It's like, well, have you ever lived, traveled, eat, sleep, breathe with your partner? That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is why couples therapy exists right there. So, you know, we're taking it 1 week at a time. We're learning each other's routines on the road because it's so different than when we're at home. We've got the home life down pat. It's the road stuff that's different. Everyone has their own little cadence and their own schedules and their own routines and their own way of life when they're traveling. And you really have to figure out when you're on the road who you mesh with perfectly. And I had a great thing going with my coworker Maxine until we were split up onto two different brands.
So what was it like when you were traveling with Maxine?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the funny thing is we actually did not know each other until I came back to WWE. And we immediately, I believe it was week 1 at WWE, we were like, should we travel together? Like, did we just become best friends? And from that point on, it was always go to bed early, eat as much as we can. Like we're constantly eating. We'll have like a casual little dirty martini here and there, but other than that, like it's very much like Pilates, coffee, early bedtime, wake up early and like feel fresh. Whereas Matt is a night owl. He's like a creative at night kind of guy. And Maxine and I are the total opposite. Like we're like, no, we're gonna watch Friends and go to bed and eat popcorn.
Now, as a professional wrestler, you seem incredibly well disciplined. Now, I imagine this requires a lot of focus to maintain while constantly traveling, like we've discussed. Now, with wrestling requiring such constant endurance, what is your approach to staying healthy and fit while you're traveling on the road and, you know, working all over the country throughout various parts of the world all year long?
So before wrestling, I was very into sports and diet and exercise. the kinetics, like the way the body moves, kinesiology, things like that. And I think that's really helped me in wrestling because honestly, I'm so busy. I am on the road almost 24/7 that sometimes there's no time to train. Sometimes you just have to fall back into an old routine. And for me, that old routine is making sure I have enough protein in my body, fueling myself with the food that we need as opposed to the food that I want. Getting steps in instead of lifting weights if I can't do that, or just knowing that I have to give myself grace if I can only fit a 30-minute lift in. Okay, that's all I can do. For the first kind of 5 to 8 years of my career, I really tried to, perform in the ring at 100%, lift at 100%, do cardio at 100%, train in the ring at 100%. And I could do that, but I wasn't nearly as busy as I am now with WWE. And with WWE, I am very much the face of the company in terms of speaking, going out and doing public engagements, community events, media appearances, things like that. So, sometimes all I can do is get my steps in and eat correctly. But thank gosh, I kind of have that to rely on from my past and already having been, it's so ingrained in me. But it's tough, it's tough when we don't have an off season. It is very, very hard. And I think that that's what people don't understand about wrestlers. We don't have an off season. We are in the ring from April to April, from WrestleMania to WrestleMania. The 1 week that we may get lucky and have off is Christmas. And ain't nobody going to the gym during Christmas.
All right, and with that, it's time for a quick break right here on The Ghost of Hollywood. I'm Poxy Leonard here with Miss Reagan, and we're speaking with WWE superstar Chelsea Green. Now, stay tuned because we'll be back with her in just a moment, but it's time to turn things over to my buddies Simon and Lynnox for a quick segment from the cinematic dumpster fire. Tonight, it's all about that kayfabe history, baby. So, we'll be back with Chelsea in just a minute. Please don't go anywhere. You are listening to The Ghost of Hollywood.
When it comes to making movies, anything can go wrong. And tonight we're here to discuss that on the Cinematic Dumpster Fire.
What's up, everybody? I'm your host Simon here with my man Lynnox. First, I hope you're enjoying the interview with WWE superstar Chelsea Green. It was a sweet surprise here for all of us on the show that she accepted our invite as a part of her Portland SmackDown appearance. And although it's not something we bring up here often on the show, we're insanely devoted wrestling fans. So hopefully this makes it a little more clear as to why Poxy lives in a Dusty Rhodes sweater, which he changes up annually, by the way, all winter long. Anyway, now I've justified this as more than superficial, tonight's segment of the Cinematic Dumpster Fire cuts deep into wrestling history. So deep, in fact, that the truth and kayfabe continue to blend themselves into history.
Or maybe the writing team just messed up on their research. But hey, it never hurts the lore.
And for our next topic, kayfabe and the existential threat of an unreal open model. But until then, let me tell you a story from the depths of the kayfabe dumpster fire, and I'll let you decide what you want to believe.
And with that, tonight we revisit 1963 and the legendary feud between none other than Alex Karras and Dick the Bruiser.
Brief backlog on both and the setting of the story, since they aren't quite the household names they once were. First, both played professional football. Dick was with the Packers from 51 to 54, where he played as a lineman. Side note, Bruiser had like the essential wrestler's gravel voice, which he was unlucky enough to develop following a larynx injury during his time with the Packers. Eventually, though, Bruiser started training with Vern Gagne, and it wasn't long before he became what we now know him best as Dick the Bruiser. Turned to Karras, who had a little bit of in-ring experience before he was signed as a defensive tackle for the Detroit Lions from 1958 to 1970, excluding 1963.
And that exclusion is where the story begins. You see, Karras owned a pretty substantial share of this bar in Detroit called Lindell's. But Lindell's has its own history in Detroit, primarily as being the first sports bar ever, and for its longtime ownership by the Karras family until it was closed and later razed in the early aughts.
But in 1963, it became a hotbed for sports gambling, which drew organized crime that eventually got Karras into trouble when his involvement with the bar came into question. This resulted in his admitting to placing bets on NFL games, so in early 63, he was suspended from the Lions for just a year before reinstatement, and his career there continued until 1970. But in 1963, Karras had bills to pay, so he leaned in on his previous experience in wrestling to conjure up a revenue-generating event. Somewhere in this period of time, he and Dick the Bruiser worked out an angle to draw attention to Detroit wrestling. So, an event was scheduled for April 27, 1963 at the Olympia Stadium in Detroit, and was promoted as the biggest wrestling match in the USA, with wrestling legend Lou Thez featured on the bill as well.
Back to Lindell's bar, which became the stage for the feud between Karras and Bruiser after the two set up a work to draw heat on the fight.
And if you're curious what Len means by a work, then welcome to the world of kayfabe. And if you're still lost, a little light reading on wrestling terms will help. But to keep it simple and understandable here, a work, in this instance, was supposed to be a stage brawl between Karras and Bruiser on behalf of promotional efforts.
Love it. Homeboy over here interpreting wrestling speak for me to help you all get over.
Thank you. So, as a part of the work, Bruiser shows up to Lindell's with the intention of stirring up some trouble with Karras. Story has it, he rolled into the place not too long after 1 a.m. and pointed out Karras behind the bar, called him some names, and demanded that Karras serve him. Jimmy Boots to Karras, who was also in on it, refused Bruiser, which led to an anticipated punch Bruiser delivered to him as a part of the work. But Jimmy's uncle, who walked in on the fight, had no clue about the work, so he responded accordingly.
Responded accordingly? He hit Bruiser in the face with a pool cue and split his left cheek open under his eye.
And of course, this made Bruiser legitimately angry, so he ripped the bar to absolute shreds in response. The police rolled in, called for backup, and went to work subduing him while Karras fled out the back door. So, Bruiser goes to jail and is arraigned on assault and battery charges. And although the papers went to town with it, with Bruiser even giving interviews defending its legitimacy, which was nearly as true as it was kayfabe, the event itself happened without much excitement. The fight drew around 10,000 fans and was considered a disappointment attendance-wise. Regardless, Bruiser clobbered Karras, and both were paid under the ceiling of $10,000 for the night. Apparently, Bruiser either had to donate most of his funds to the police union as compensation for manhandling them during the brawl, or forfeited it to the $50,000 lawsuit that two of the injured officers hit him with in court.
And that settles it, everyone. Where kayfabe goes wrong, or maybe it goes a little too right.
When it comes to the world of wrestling, it's probably best we never know. That said, it's time to wrap up our segment here from the Cinematic Dumpster Fire. I'm Simon here with my man Lynnox, and it's time to pass things back off to Reagan and Poxy so they can continue their conversation with WWE superstar Chelsea Green. See you next season, everybody.
Interested in television or movies?
Then check out The Ghost of Hollywood for the best in cinema-related podcast at theghostofhollywood.com or wherever you get your podcast.
Previously, you've stated that with the release of Unreal Season 2, it's had a significant impact on the crowd's perception and reaction towards your character. So, how has this changed the way you portray yourself on screen or approach your character moving forward?
Okay, so one thing that I always try to tell people is it's really amazing to watch your matches back and to nitpick and to, tell yourself, okay, this is what I'm going to do differently the next time. However, I just have never believed in that, and I've never done it because, and hear me out, because I know that sounds crazy and I do want to always improve, but I don't want to ever judge myself. I think that the character that I play needs to not judge herself. I need to just say what I feel, and I need to kind of go off the cuff, and I need to be in the moment, and whatever comes out, comes out. And to be the butt of the joke, I think that works. And so I unfortunately had to watch myself back for Unreal because I was doing a lot of media and appearances speaking about it, and I needed to know what I was talking about, as opposed to in the ring when I know what happened. I know what I did in the ring. I know what happened on SmackDown, so I'm able to speak about that without watching myself and judging myself. Now, I watched it, season 1 and season 2, and I just tried to watch it, put in my brain what I needed to, which were, talking points and things like that. And then the rest of it, like, flush it out. I don't want what I say or do on Unreal or the edits that Netflix has for me to impact the way that I am in real life. I don't want to change. I've got this far from being who I am and being very authentic and making fun of myself, and being like a funny girl because I just say whatever. I don't want that to change. I don't want to judge myself. So although I think it has changed everyone else's perception of me and kind of given the fans a new perspective, it hasn't changed the way that I am in or out of the ring.
Well, now everybody's ready to see you really get over, I think.
I hope so.
Way.
I mean, Yeah, I think that that's like the beautiful, unexpected thing that came out of Unreal, you know? Like I was very nervous that I've seen a lot of, how do I say this? I've seen the downfall of a lot of people from reality TV. You know,
Yeah.
you watch people get canceled. You watch people say things they shouldn't say and put their foot in their mouth. And I know I put my foot in my mouth all the time in real life. So I was so worried that that's what I was going to do. But I think in fact it did the opposite because I am trying to be so authentic and genuine and just be me. And people see that and now realize that like, look, my Instagram may look like I'm a girl in a bikini wearing lots of makeup or being a kind of narcissistic and self-obsessed, but at the end of the day, like at home, I'm just a girl with a bunch of animals and a husband swiffering my house and you know, like paying the bills.
No, I mean, and just I think that anybody observing too from the outside that really has an understanding of the way that this goes, and not everyone does, but the work is indefatigable. I mean, it's incredible how much
Yeah.
work goes into this. That's why, like, even like, how much does being in the ring factor into like just being in ring shape? Like, does that in itself
Oh
just
my
staying active?
gosh. Yes. I mean, if you're in the ring every week, and I don't even mean just in the ring, you guys would be shocked at how much I sweat and how elevated my heart rate is when I'm on the outside just banging on the mat cheering for Alba or Piper or, you know, like taking a hit from Kyrie or Tacky Time. Like I am getting a whole workout in, doing a cardio workout with that. So I think that that also inevitably is going to help keep us in shape. But it's a battle. The constant kind of want for this perfect body and to be this, you know, specimen for the WWE universe and for the fans. Like it is a constant battle, but that's a whole nother topic of, you know, body dysmorphia and the camera adding 10 pounds and the internet and that kind of push pull that we all have with, I don't know, the reality of 2026.
When it comes to carrying the belt as champion, what are some of the challenges or pressures of retaining the title long term? Now, and how heavily does this impact the way you interact with live audiences in the arena? I know simultaneously you're performing for millions of unseen faces on television as well.
Yeah, that's always interesting. So there's a couple different parts to that. When I win a championship, I do immediately feel that pressure come down on me because I think that we've seen a lot in the past that people love, love, love the rise of an underdog. But you know what they love even more? They love to tear someone down. The internet loves the downfall of someone at the top.
Yeah,
And
there's a lot of
that's
negative energy right now.
right. It's so toxic and there's so much pressure on us. And we've seen it time and time again. I've felt it. I've seen it. It's happened to me. You know, everyone always says, like, oh my gosh, how do you feel that you're so loved and this and that? It's like, well, yeah, I am right now. But that, you know, it ebbs and flows. The pendulum always swings back the other way. And if you believe that you're the best, then you got to believe you're the worst, and vice versa. So I don't feed into any of that. However, the pressure to continue to entertain, to bring something new to the table, to reinvent the wheel when the wheel has been reinvented 1,000 times in WWE is so hard. And then the other part of that that question is I don't change the way that I act, whether it's for, you know, Netflix television, USA Network, whether it's in a venue of 10,000 people, 50,000 people, 100,000 people, or 50. Like I try to bring the same package to each one. I actually think the nerves are bigger when it's a smaller crowd. You can kind of pick out the fans one by one. You can hear specific things that people are saying while you're wrestling, as opposed to 100,000 people, where it's almost like a kind of like a murmur. It's just a constant wave of sounds surrounding the ring. So that's very interesting. But I never want to change the entertainment factor that I bring to the ring just because it's the, you know, premiere on Netflix or on the opposite end of things, just because I'm in a small town in Texas and maybe only 1,000 people showed up. I wrestled for nobody on the indies and I had to work so much harder than I do now at WWE when I was wrestling for those 50 people on the indies and I wanted WWE to hire me. And I think that that's what makes indie wrestlers really unique is they won't change. They will never change it up because they've been paid $20 to do so much more.
Yeah, I mean, when you start to organically get over too, it's kind of you run in juxtaposition or kind of counter to the machine, so to speak, and where they work to synthesize
Yeah.
you in that. So when that begins to happen organically, how do you work to mitigate that sort of balance with creative?
Oh my God, I'm trying to figure that out. If you guys have any tips,
No
please
clue.
let me know.
No clue. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's so funny because every time I go out there, I guess I don't think about it until I'm out there and then I'm in it and I'm like, what do I do? I mean, I think you guys saw that. I posted an Instagram video that I collaborated with WWE on the other day where I'm sitting in my wheelchair and the fans are literally watching two amazing wrestlers. Like Alba and Tiffany had a banger
Yeah, it was
of a
wild.
match.
Wild
A
Friday
banger,
night. You
right?
had a wild
It
Friday
was,
night.
oh my gosh, it was so good. But they just kept cheering for me. Well, look, the narcissist in me is like, that's right. Yeah. Like, keep going. But like, that's not my match. That's not my platform. I am supposed to be the side piece to this match. I'm supposed to be just a little added entertainment. I'm supposed to be there when I need to be there and be quiet when I need to be quiet. And so it makes it really hard. It's confusing. It's everything we ever wanted, but it's not at the right time. But who am I to tell the fans that, hey, if they're getting behind me, I'm sure as hell not going to stop them. So
Yeah.
I'm learning it as I go and I'm figuring it out match by match. And it's hard. And I never want to make the person in the ring feel less than or my opponent feel less than or, not do my job. So, I just kind of have to stick to the script while also acknowledging what the fans want, which is they want to be acknowledged. When they're chanting for you, they want you to hear that. They want you to acknowledge it. They want you to look in their direction. So you can still do that and be a heel. It just, the chance might get, crazier. I don't know.
You and Fatu talk around back. You're like, why do they like us so much? We're being mean.
Yeah. Oh, it's so hard. It's just so hard being liked, isn't it, Jacob?
Now, sorry, when you returned to WWE as Chelsea Green under Triple H's creative leadership, what specifically did he say about how he envisioned you fitting into WWE this time that was different from your initial run?
I love that question. He told me nothing. Nobody told me anything. In fact, we actually had this really cool grunge alternative character planned, and I was going to come back. We have a creative genius, Rob Fee, who is an LA guy, like very much like into the movie scene in LA and stuff, and he works for WWE. He helped me flesh out this character. It was going to be kind of an LA girl from Silver Lake, grungy, smoked cigarettes. Like it was so cool and so like different than who I am because I do feel like I'm a nerd kind of wrapped in a different package. And so when I came back and they were like, oh, actually, today you're not going to do that. Like today you're just going to be me. I'm like, oh shit. Well, who am I? What's me? What is me? Like, I don't know who me is. I'm just like a white girl from Canada who like wears sparkles. I don't know. So I was really kind of panicking, and I was about to go out for the Royal Rumble, and I read on the dirt sheets right before I was about to go out for the Royal Rumble, maybe 2 hours before my debut, that they had talked about doing a Karen character for me, and I'm like, hold on, like. Okay, this is not what we had spoken about, but wait, this is something I can do. So I spoke to them and I asked, hey, can I just be in there for like a record time? And they're like, okay, yeah, run in and Rhea will toss you out. And I looked at Rhea and I said, if you don't get me out in a record time, I'm going to be so upset with you. So it was kind of like our funny thing. Like when I went in, we looked at each other like, let's fucking go. And she tossed me out and, like it was, and then I played up the Karen character and that snowballed into what it is now. Like I'm telling you, that is how I am who I am now. The camera came on me after Rhea tossed me out. and I had hit the record for the quickest elimination. And I kind of just went into autopilot of who I thought this Karen character might be. I really didn't have time to flesh that out. And week by week, we built on that, and nobody ever told me what they wanted out of it. They just kept giving me reassurance that what I was doing was right. So every week I kind of pushed the boundary, I pushed the envelope. And now we're at a point where the writers are so incredible with me. They basically just tell me, what vibe they want from me. And then I write my own promos. I come up with a lot of the things that I do, the character moments, the, Chelsea Chronicle now, like all that stuff in the past 3 years is because WWE has put full and total trust in me. But I think it just started with, it was so busy at the Royal Rumble. They had so many people coming back. Everyone kind of cared more about Nia Jax's return. And I just kind of got pushed to the side. And that ended up actually being for my complete benefit. And I'm so thankful it happened that way.
Now, before we go, I know we're tight on time here, and we appreciate you making the time.
Already.
It happens fast, it happens fast. But you are a busy wrestler, so you've got a lot to do. And we are not busy, so we got a lot of watching to do. But anyway, but before we go, I'm going to ask a more contemporary question we're all dying to know the answer to, and that is this. Chelsea Green, what are you going to do about Tacky Time to save the world from the wrath of Tiff Stratton?
So besides really breaking her down via my newspaper articles, making sure that the fans are completely against her and only love me. I haven't decided yet. I was thinking maybe I would make Alba crash into her with my wheelchair. I was thinking, maybe we even the odds. I take her ankle out. I was thinking maybe I give her a makeover, shave her head, make her ugly. I don't know. Like there's just so much I could do, and I really haven't decided yet. But know that I'm sitting in my office at my desk. I've got my notepad out, and I'm writing a list of ways to even the odds, if you know what I mean.
All right. Well, I guess that list will continue.
TBD.
That's good. I'm Poxy Leonard here with Ms. Reagan, and we've been speaking with WWE superstar Chelsea Green. Chelsea, thank you for joining us on the show. We appreciate speaking with you.
Thank you, and I can't wait to see you guys next Friday at SmackDown in Portland, Oregon.
All right. We'll see you there. You are listening to The Ghost of Hollywood. Be back after these messages.
Interested in television or movies?
Then check out The Ghost of Hollywood for the best in cinema-related podcast at theghostofhollywood.com or wherever you get your podcast. Welcome back to The Ghost of Hollywood. I'm Poxy Leonard here with Miss Reagan, and we've just finished speaking with professional wrestler and WWE superstar Chelsea Green about her career, Netflix Unreal series, updates on her latest ankle injury, and her upcoming appearance at SmackDown tomorrow night in Portland, Oregon at the Moda Center.
We'd like to thank Chelsea and her manager, Lee Meltzer, for making the time to help us put together this episode, and for providing support for our Season 5 finale. We'd also like to thank KBOO 90.7 FM Portland for their ongoing support and sponsorship of The Ghost of Hollywood as we begin to lay ground for our 6th season. Remember, you can also become a sponsor for The Ghost of Hollywood. Simply visit our website at theghostofhollywood.com and reach out to our team through the contact page to inquire more information.
All right, wall crawlers, that wraps it up here for the 49th episode as we bring the 5th season to a close. Yeah. Shout out to our team here at the Ghost of Hollywood for all of their hard work, especially my homies Simon and Lynnox. I appreciate all of your efforts and assistance driving Reagan insane behind the scenes this season. I appreciate it more than you know.
Hey,
what? Well, anyway, we'd also like to thank some of our outgoing staff and crew for their hard work, especially our senior writer, Chris Klon. Chris was with the Ghost of Hollywood when me and Reagan were recording pilots on a 4-track during the pandemic and has stuck with us through the best and the worst of times. So we wish him the best of luck as his writing career continues to expand beyond the Ghost of Hollywood, yeah.
and we'll be back next month as we make our way into Season 6 here on The Ghost of Hollywood. So be on the lookout for a new episode in no time. And until then, go watch SmackDown and suplex your co-host or whatever.
Oh yeah. I'd kill to see you try to suplex me, Reagan.
Well, I might not be big enough to do that, but Chelsea did leave me this chair.
Oh, she left you a chair, huh? You think I'm scared, Reagan?
You should be.
Ow!
That's right. And you've been listening to The Ghost of Hollywood. I'm Miss Reagan, and until next time, everybody, good morning and good night.
Good night, everybody.
You have been listening to another episode of The Ghost of Hollywood. The Ghost of Hollywood was created by Zach Flannery and is written by Zach and Reagan Flannery, with performances by Simon Flannery. The Ghost of Hollywood is mixed and mastered by Lynnox Flannery at Literature Studios in Vancouver, Washington. For more information, please visit theghostofhollywood.com.